All right, so I have my Cusco sway bars in. So from here you can see the bushing there. It's actually not polyurethane like all the other brands. It's actually rubber, just like the OEM OE sway bars. But obviously the Cusco is a little bit thicker. So got them in both front and back. I've been driving around for like the past week or so now, to the mountains and everything, and I really like them. The Cusco should that should have been how the stock suspension should have came from the factory. Should have been like that, because they feel they have there you see the rubber bushing, and obviously it's still using the factory end link. So that's for the rear, but they still feel riding this thing. It still feels like a Miata. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a slot car with those other sway bars. They're pretty stiff, and sure, they reduce sway and stuff, but I think they reduce it too much, and they just drive too flat, or at least too flat for my taste, anyways. I like on a street car, I like to have a little bit of a sway, especially in really rough pavement. You want that. You want to have it. You want the suspension to have more give, so that way it's a more comfortable ride, smoother ride. So these things are just a little bit stiffer than stock. They're not that much stiffer. They'll probably only and I don't know what the numbers are. I don't know what the actual numbers are, because I'm looking around at various websites, and it seems like there's a few different numbers that's thrown around, and they're like way off from each other. But as far as feel goes, it doesn't feel that much stiffer than stock. It probably maybe feels like maybe like maybe as much as double at the most. So no more than double the stiffness of stock springs, or maybe slightly less than that. And which I think is actually perfect. That's how they should have came from the factory. In my opinion. So the Cusco is actually different from all the other stuff, because their end link. Let me see if you guys can see that right there. You see the end link there? It's actually right in here. Let's see the end link there. There's only one hole. Most other sway bars, there's neither 2 holes or 3 holes. This one is just 1 hole. It's just basically it's one setting. That's it. There's no other setting, and that's true for the front and rear. So actually I like it, and I think the setting is perfect for street use. You would do autocross or track. These would definitely be too soft, but for street driving, I think it's perfect, especially here in the mountains. The mountains, mountain riding, mountain driving. The thing with driving in the mountains on public roads is that the majority of mountain roads, they don't get maintained very well, and they're rough. They're bumpy. So they're a little bit more neglected than high use road, where where a lot of people have attention to those roads, and complain about those roads. But mountain roads, they don't get that much use, so there's less. Basically the government puts less money into keeping it into its upkeep. So they're very bumpy. So I like these sway bars, because they're perfect for mountain roads. They feel just right, I think. They do have sway to them, and when you're transitioning from right to left with the stock, when you're transitioning from left to right or right to left, you go one way then the other way. As you go one way and the other way back, it kind of it kind of jiggles a little bit, right? It's kind of, you kind of jiggle, and it's a little bit loose. These ones have a slightly bit of looseness too, but it's like but it's a lot more control. So basically you go one way, then back the other way, then it's just basically sort of do like a little bit of a kick, like one little movement, and that's it, and it stops. Whereas with the stock one, it'll be like kind of, like so, several movements. So this one, I think it feels just right for mountain driving, and this is how I think how this factory sway bar should have came. It should came just the stiffness of how the Cusco is. So that's the rear. I'm not sure we able to see the front. It's so tight in here. The space is so tight in here. In the front, same thing. Only one hole. So there's the front. Just the front right there, and you see the bushing on the front. It's also rubber as well. So the front's kind of sort of a pain in the butt to install. At least the nut on the top, anyways, because the nuts on here are actually 19mm nuts. And to get a 19mm wrench in there on the top nut, that's like hardly any clearance at all. I actually had to buy a box wrench, 19mm box wrench, just for this, because I don't have a 19mm box wrench. Just to get that nut up there on top, right there. With the bottom one, obviously there's plenty of clearance, but the top one was kind of a pain. But but that nut on top doesn't need that much torque. If you look at the manufacturer spec on these nuts here, I think they're only like 20 something, like 26. I'm thinking somewhere mid 20s on the torque for foot-pounds, whereas the end link is something like it's like 30 something, I think, if I can remember right off the top of my head. But anyways, it's also rubber bushing. So the cool thing about rubber bushing is that there's no noise, right? It's not like those polyurethane bushings where you get a lot of noise on them. And for street use, I don't want to deal with that. For track, whatever, auto, that type of stuff, there's a certain thing that you give up for having more performance. But for street use, I don't want, I want it to be sporty, but at the same time still comfortable and not annoying, especially if I'm gonna go on a road trip, or a long drive. I don't want all that squeak. It's just, that's just too much of a pain in the ass. So I like the fact that they're using the rubber bushings instead of the polyurethane. The negative side to the rubber is that it has a little bit more give, so there's a little bit more flex. So you got to consider that. But also, this thing it is also a one bolt end link as well. Let's see, right in there, that's the end link right there. And you see, it's only there's only one bolt there. There's no there's no other bolts for that end link right there. Put the light properly. So anyways, yeah, so it's only one bolt or one hole as well, so there's no there's no adjustments to it. And I think it's perfect for again, for street use. It's like perfect. So for you folks that don't quite like the amount of sway that the factory has, amount of lean that the factory has, but you want it to be just a little bit less lean, but not so much where it's too flat, and you lose the you lose the feel of the Miata. I think the Cusco sway bars are probably the best thing, your best option. And it's one of those things where once you have it in there and you set it up, you don't have to worry about it again. You never have to do anything. It should be as good as the stock sway as far as life. Maybe after like 100,000 miles, the bushings will wear out, and you could just replace the bushings, and you're good to go. And possibly the end links too, because the end links wear out as well, right? But otherwise, I really like it. Gives you just enough sway and that's how a Miata always feels, right? You know, from the very first gen Miata to this current gen, you know, 4 generations later, they all have a certain sway to them, a certain feel, a certain ride that, you know, that they give, that, you know, that makes it very distinctly Miata. You know, for the folks that want to be like completely flat and, you know, like you're driving a slot car or something, or a go kart, you know. If I wanted to drive a go kart, I would go to the go kart track and drive a go kart. But I don't want that. You know, I want this a Miata, so that those sway bars, those Cusco sway bar keeps a Miata feeling like a Miata. So yeah, so I definitely highly recommend them for street use. But, you know, like I said, anything else, you know, competition wise, autocross or track use or whatever, they're gonna be too soft for you for that purpose.